The main video that they created for that, the high production one, that one only got 2,500 likes. The vertical version with the behind the scenes, that thing did 76,000 likes. If you just posted that first video, probably would have been a waste of money.
Their tone is super dramatic. They kind of make regular soap be like the villain. And Liquid Death is probably like the #1. Death to plastics and talk like fear mongering with like microplastic.
What IMA is crushing at is a bait and switch play. You see $183 a month. And in small text, you see build 548 USD every 12 weeks. Subscription, it's very simple. Cash.
I only knew Lola Blankets because the product was sick. Their most winning ad is their founder talking about the story. The mom passed away of cancer and she used to make these knitted blankets. And then now, whenever I see Lola Blankets, like I understand the story. Where I want to start is what brands stuck out and why. So first off is Grüns. I think Grüns is a huge one. We did a huge video on their 16 email welcome flow within 12 days. Pat, if you want to sort of kick it off and let us know what you learned from the Grüns welcome flow, their subscription flow, what we learned from, subscribing and funnel hacking them.
Yes, for sure. So obviously with Grüns, a supplement-based brand, the #1 thing that supplement brands or subscription-based brands have to focus on is making sure their customers actually use the product. And so, one of the reasons why someone might churn or cancel a subscription is like they didn't use it all, or it's just, they did the routine for 2 or 3 days and then the bottle's still, in the cabinet. They didn't actually use their product. So one of the things that Grüns does a great job with their post-subscription flow, post-purchase flow, is that they start to build the routine and set expectations. So for a lot of supplements, a lot of those products, like you don't take it and you immediately feel something, right? It's kind of have to stay taking it for a long time. And you kind of have to deploy some propaganda into the customer's brain for them to realize that this product is efficacious and actually working. And so what they do is when you subscribe to their product, they set up this whole routine, right? So day 1, you're starting a healthy habit. Here's, you're getting in this routine. Great. By day 7, you'll feel X, Y, and Z. Great. Day 14, congratulations. Like you made it this far. So if you're getting those emails and that communication, and these emails, right, for a post-purchase, post-subscription, they're not salesy. They're just education, firing up the customer, getting them to actually take the product so that they don't churn. So, a lot of brands on subscription, they're like, all right, great, we got the subscription. And then they figure out, oh, well, people are churning in month 1. Like people are just opting into subscription and they're canceling right away. So what can you do to build a flow, like a 30-day sequence, 12 to 16 emails over 30 days. Don't spam them, but just keep that routine top of mind for them. That way they actually, if you have a supplement or a consumable, they actually use the product so that they're not canceling or pausing, during that first month.
Yeah, I can show it here too. So this is the Grüns subscription flow. We'll throw the link down below so you guys can see this as well. But I also think what they do really well in this is their branding. Like you can tell they take their branding very serious. And whenever, like what Pat's saying, if someone's new, they're a cold customer, and say they came in through a cold ad and they start subscribing, they're breaking down every single objection that someone may have and introducing them to the brand. And that's why they hit them with so many emails. So then they understand how to actually use the product. They know they have such a great product. So then if they teach them how to take it properly, it's going to be a good experience for the customer and they're going to keep on coming back, and they don't feel like they got left behind or anything. Like they're going to actually have a good experience with this brand, and it increases the lifetime value of the customer. So I think Grüns is huge there. On the other side of it, I want to touch on some of the brands that we see crush the ad creative. I think IM8 is a huge one where they have 1,500 total active ads. Dr. Squatch has over 250 active ads. Ridge Wallet is another one that absolutely crushes it, having over a few hundred active ads. I think that's kind of like what we've seen. I know we talk a lot about the Andromeda update, and that you need to have a lot of creative testing going on. You got to test so many different angles and scripts. And once you find that one, you can actually make so many iterations of that specific ad script with a bunch of different creators, framing it so many different ways. One that stuck out to me that you talked about, Pat, was, I believe it was Dr. Squatch's, like the boxer type ad, where they had some dude that was using like the face, whatever, I don't know what they use, but where they scrape the face as the boxer, and it was one dude doing it, and then we saw like 10 different ads of the same guy, of different people, different creators using the like boxing thing. I think that goes to show you how much creative testing that they're doing. And then once they find a winning ad script, they're making all these different iterations. And that also goes back to a point that I don't see a lot of brands doing. They're testing a bunch of different ads, but they're not documenting like the scripts. They're just sending out and requesting, hey, let me send a bunch of our athletes or creators care packages and ask them to make UGC. Yeah, that's going to be awesome. That's going to get you ads, but it's not going to actually teach you what works. If you see a winning ad, you're not going to be able to go back and iterate it and identify why is this winning. And it's going to make it a lot easier if you're able to document it, you script it out, and it breaks it down to a science. I don't know. Do you have anything to say on some of like the ad stuff here?
Yeah. So what we're seeing on the ad creative side, so there's a few things that you talked about that, are relevant. So like one is like for a brand, let's just say you're doing sub $10 million a year on Shopify. The lesson and the takeaway isn't necessarily just like create a ton of ads, although volume is great. It's starting to add a lot more intentionality behind the creative. So you've heard creative diversification. So 2 or 3 years ago, we'd create ads, same hook, same body, stitch it together. Now we're workshopping creative from like completely unique different angles in hooks, and you can have the same script, but like let's have diverse creators create that content. So there's a lot of intentionality happening. The other piece is like a copywriting trick that you talked about. So we saw with Ridge Wallet with one of their ads, it's like a cold like face contouring tool, and they say this is what boxers use in the middle of their fight to diminish the swelling. So one of the good copywriting hacks that you can do is whatever your product solves, compare it to something that's well known or something with high trust. So, for example, a boxer is like, if a boxer's using this during a fight, that is the most extreme level of pain and swelling that they might be experiencing. So if I do this in my daily routine, I'll be looking, nice and chiseled. And then you've seen this forever, right? You've seen, this is a classic copywriting, in old school bodybuilding magazines or like these kind of dodgy supplements and stuff. You could, this is used by these monks in India for thousands of years. It's this, special thing, right? So if you compare your product and the problem it solves to something that's like well-known, mysterious, that has high authority, then they'd be like, oh, wow, like that actually works for me. So using that comparison crushes. I did a video yesterday talking about like different video concepts that you can use, right? So it's not just UGC, it's like how can we create totally different angles. So, different formats or concepts are working really good right now is like the split screen. So like have a UGC at the top and then maybe like a animation at the bottom. You have like the AI character videos that are doing quite well. Another great video that we saw, I think it was from Ridge, it might be from someone else, is the spouse point of view. So if you have, usually this works for men. We saw this, Dr. Squatch does this as well, where, if it's a male wellness beauty product, anything that a guy would buy to feel better about themselves, like have a wife, have a girlfriend POV. So, I couldn't keep my hands off my boyfriend once he started using this deodorant. Like that angle from a woman that's targeting men, I feel like men respond a lot better than that, than maybe a man talking about that for a girl. Another brand I talked to this week has a product that solves sleep apnea. So sleep apnea is a big issue, usually with men. And so some of the ad concepts that we're ideating out is let's create a ton of videos from women, wives, girlfriends complaining about their husband or boyfriend that is, snoring is so loud throughout the night, and that product solves it, right? So different concepts there. Other formats that, work quite well right now, we see a lot of ads with just like raw kind of hands-only unboxing kind of ASMR style videos. If you ever that's why having good packaging, good unboxing experience can create a great ad. Someone unboxing the bundle or products that you sell. And then lastly, like green screen overlay videos. Like those are, you can use the same, you can be saying the same thing, but do it in different ways. You could say if you're trying to use the boxer angle, for example, you could have a half screen video of that. You could have an AI animation of that. You could have a static and graphic of that. You can use that same angle and then use different formats or concepts to actually communicate that. So that's really where what you're talking about is document your creative strategy and then figure out how to create all those unique assets at scale.
Yeah. I also think a couple ideas that I want to throw out there too. I think Dr. Squatch, I made a video about them of breaking down their ads a couple days ago. And I think what they do really well, which I think Liquid Death does this, Dr. Squatch does this. There's a lot of brands out there that do it. Kind of their tone is super dramatic, they kind of make regular soap feel like the villain, even though there's not really much bad stuff about soap, let's be honest. But they amplify it so much to kind of fear-monger people of how bad regular soap is. Yeah. And they kind of make it funny too. They'll bring in a bunch of celebrities and they just kind of shit on soap, which I think that is super funny. And Liquid Death is probably the number one people that do that in marketing. It's just making other water, death to plastics and fear mongering with microplastics and how shitty other water is. I think that's super funny. So that's a way that you can kind of put comedy and relief into stuff, but also it is valid points. If, someone's if you're targeting some granola heads of Liquid Death and water and microplastics, that's really going to get them, but also you can make it funny and, get people to kind of laugh at it, but they also understand what's going on. Yeah, so I think that's a cool thing that a lot of brands do.
Yeah. What you're talking about is finding the enemy in your marketing and rallying around that. So obviously with a lot of wellness brands, better for you ingredients, it's very easy to do that. You see that with Nads is another great example of that. Organic cotton underwear that makes polyester, typical Calvin Kleins, etc. Fear mongering about all the brutal things that can happen over time from that. I don't know. I'm not the scientist. I'm the marketer. I don't know if that's actually accurate. I'll take them at face value for that one. But there's other brands like Killcrew, for example, which is more of a lifestyle fashion brand. Probably their materials aren't probably the best materials. So what is the angle? How do they create an enemy out of that? They are against negativity, PTSD, depression, anxiety, and all the battles we face from within. So their enemy isn't just the materials or the features of the product. It's more of that lifestyle, that feeling, that you feel when you wear that apparel. So, that's a good enemy to rally your customers around.
Yep. And then one last one before we move on to the next topic idea. But you made a video on Lola Blankets. I'm a customer of Lola Blankets. I think we got a couple of them at our house. But they do a really good job. They got my wife hooked on Lola Blankets, trying to buy these few $100 blankets, which they're actually begging products. But their founder story is super sick. And I think their most winning ad is their founder talking about the story. And the story basically is the mom passed away of cancer and she used to make these knitted blankets or whatever. And so that's the whole reason why they made these blankets. And I think, tell me if I'm wrong, but I think some proceeds go to cancer research or something because of the mom. But they put that stuff all over the ads. They put it on the landing page. They put it on the home page. They put it on the About Us page. But that stuff really sticks. So then if you're someone like me, where I only knew Lola Blankets because the product was sick and I was using these blankets and it was really awesome. And then I started to understand the story because I started looking at their website and stuff. I didn't really know anything about them. And then now, whenever I see Lola Blankets, like I understand the story, then I'm going to tell, my friends about the blankets, and then I'll probably bring up the story. And it's like a deeper reason to purchase the product. And it's very like bottom funnel too. Like me being the most top of funnel, not knowing about the brand or anything, and just, understanding it's a cool blanket. And then me now being bottom of funnel, understanding the whole founder story and stuff too, makes the customer feel a deeper connection to the brand. So I think Lola's is pretty cool too.
Yeah, I think probably like 20 years ago, whatever, these big brands came in the market, like you saw a lot of brands like Patagonia, I think Kind Bar, like these brands started to have that kind of charitable angle to their marketing. And I think it kind of got watered down. Like usually you see a charitable donation, 1% of your sales go to this, and it kind of just seems gimmicky. Like it just seems like it's overused and abused at this point. What I appreciate about what Lola does, they actually attach a real story to that angle, right? So if it's real, it's an authentic, and there's a real why behind that charitable angle, that's fantastic. And going back to like Lola Blankets as a whole, selling $300 plus blankets, how they're able to do that is like, okay, we have a blanket. How can we make this premium or luxury? That comes with branding. So all the creative is very high end. You would think this is like a high end fashion brand, like there's high level models in the imagery. All their emails are really dialed in. And so you kind of have to create that experience and justify, why you can charge that higher price point. And obviously brand story is another element of that, which is very compelling. And I think they do a great job at that.
Yeah. Last piece I want to cover on creative, actually, just because I came up with an idea while you were talking. David Protein, I know I sent this to you. I don't know if you understood it. Or
I got it. I got the lore. I got it.
Yeah. I didn't know if people knew, but it's literally all over my page, the whole obsession like blowing up. So if you guys don't know, I mean, you guys have probably heard of the movie Obsession that blew up, the horror movie. I haven't watched it, but it's all over my page and seeing how it all blew up. David Protein did a collaboration with the actress that plays the main character basically in this movie, and made it like the angle of being scared of macros. So that was pretty clever of them doing, because if y'all don't know, David Protein, basically their USP is having the best macros, having the most amount of protein in a protein bar. And they did this whole like horror movie looking thing with this girl. And it's about her like opening up the fridge and seeing this stuff that has terrible macros. And then she finds David Protein ice cream that has these awesome macros or whatever, and then she becomes obsessed with it. So that stuff is pretty creative too. Like I saw that, I was like, I can't believe they hopped on that trend so fast. Like that's a quick turnaround time.
Yeah, and that's a good point. I think some of the laziest social media strategy is when a brand just starts posting, like you see this a lot, like I think with like the Drake album came out, or like Taylor Swift comes out, and every brand does the same exact templated carousel or post, like kind of jumping on that bandwagon. If you can be like David Protein and jump on this like that fast, then you're setting the standard and it's actually unique. I think like 10, 15 years into social media marketing strategy, like that was something that was like funny to like jump on a trend, and then every brand does the same thing. And it's like, once it's like a week in, once it's like already passed,
like the Drake hotline bling, like the Drake hotline bling, people would post and shit like that.
Yeah, like you have to be the first mover, even if a trend's picking up, like to jump on it. Like I feel like so many large brands, they post about it like a week after it's relevant, and it's just like it doesn't help. Yeah. So
they're coming out with a whole movie like that is insane.
Who is?
Like David Protein made a whole movie about it, like 2 weeks after.
You know what's crazy though, which is interesting, is David Protein. So the main video that they created for that, like the main one, like the high production one, actually didn't do that well on social.
Oh,
like
really?
It's a horizontal video. You have to, turn your phone. It's not really a short form optimized video. It's a great video. But that one actually didn't do that well. If you look at the engagement, that one only got 2,500 likes. What actually did well is the vertical version with the behind the scenes with the actress Indy Neverett talking about like the behind the scenes of that. That thing did 76,000 likes. So the format of that creative and the angle in which they created that content, like this does a lot better. So, you know, just it's interesting. So how, if you do that, like what are the, if you, especially if you spend a lot of money on like a celebrity endorsement or whatever, and you're using someone like that, if you just posted that first video, probably would have been a waste of money. But they're repurposing that and using, you know, different styles to use that same $1 million that they spent on this actress, and then, you know, repurposing it in different formats. Which
I have seen a lot of behind the scenes, like I've seen that blowing up. So many of like the behind the scenes, especially like clothing brands that make like a viral video, and then it's like the behind the scenes of it where they like kind of throw paint. Like, have you seen those videos where like they throw paint at people, whatever, and then all you see, and then they have the behind the scenes one. Like, that's a whole nother angle too that you can take. Like, I think people like seeing that stuff now, probably just being so used to social media and these campaign videos that they see this behind the scenes and it gets so much more viral than the actual video itself.
Yeah. Because the hook of the main video that they created for Instagram, at least, it starts with like 3 to 5 seconds of the David logo, like twisting your screen, like a terrible hook. Then it gets into it, and it's like a movie, so it's not like really optimized for short form. Versus the one that they created that blew up is watch Indy Neverett kill this commercial in one take, and it's like a great visual hook, and the one take is interesting. And even if she didn't do it in one take, like people are loving this actress right now, so you know they're getting that whole fan base rallying up on that. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yep. No, I think that's sweet. All right, we'll hop on to the last one here. I think some stuff that I learned from what you did on some of the Dr. Squatch IM8 stuff is the subscription first position. And like IM8s, I think, I don't know how much it was, but they had a 90-day auto renew subscription that you broke down, which that was super unique because I know we're always pushing, like we said, is like increasing and maximizing lifetime value and repurchase rate. So I think they are leaders in it. And IM8 did that completely different where it's like the 90-day auto renew subscription. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So basically what IMA is crushing at is a bait and switch play, right? So a lot of subscription brands, like you saw Grüns, AG1 was really the big pioneer. Now AG1 set that standard of like subscription focused brands and, you know, welcome offer and then roll into subscription. Then there's all these kind of new kids on the block. So you have IM8, you have Grüns. IM8 has basically, they're pushing you into, it depends. They have three different entry points of stacks. You have the Beckham stack, the Daily Ultimate Essentials Pro, and you have the Daily Ultimate Longevity stack. So you have these three different stacks. When you look at the kind of MSRP price on these, you see $183 a month. And in small text, you see build 548 USD every 12 weeks. So it's kind of a bait and switch because I imagine their cart, like there's probably a lot of friction at the checkout process, but it's probably still crushing it for them. I'm familiar with the guys that are working on their funnels and their CRO, and they know what they're doing. So, okay, why would you do this versus just rolling them into a month-to-month subscription? It's very simple. Cash, right? So cash, getting more cash up front. Their CAC is probably $100, $200+ potentially. And so if you can get $500 on first purchase, you're going to be first purchase profitable or cash flowing, and then you're rolling them into a subscription. The other thing that I think is I have a theory that if you're on a 90-day subscription versus a month-to-month subscription, I bet churn is lower too. For example, I started to see starting to get some Mickey Mouse ears like a couple years ago, and I don't think it was real. I think I was just marketed very heavily to hair loss ads and all that good stuff. And it was Hims, and I jumped in, and it was the same sort of model. So I feel like telehealth's been doing that first, where you kind of opt in for a 90-day subscription. But since it was a 90-day subscription, I'm not seeing that bill on my credit card every single month. So what did I do? I completely forgot about it, and then I got hit with another $200 charge 3 months in because I'm not like thinking about that. So ethical or not, I think the reality is if you're seeing something every single month on your credit card statement versus like buy something and then it sneaks up on you 90 days down the line, I bet the subscription churn is lower because of that reason. So I think that's also interesting.
Yeah, no, I thought that was super interesting when you made the video on it, and obviously, Dr. Squatch crushes that too. Like that, I think they made their whole. I don't even think you have an option until you get to checkout to
Right.
do a one-time purchase,
Right.
which is
That's
pretty crazy to me.
Yeah, that's the other thing with these brands is if they do, I'm not 100% sure if IM8, yeah, IM8 does, right? All these brands usually have a one-time purchase option, but it's the smallest option on the screen, right? So they automatically on the product page, they have you opted in for a 90-day supply. Then below it, in like smaller text, is a 30-day supply. And then even below that, not even a bubble, but just one line that's hyperlinked says one-time purchase, right?
Oh,
and so
yeah.
that's all intentional from a a psychological standpoint, is just to push them where you want them to go and make it harder for them to, identify that, one-time purchase frame. But one thing that I noticed about Dr. Squatch, I believe, let me fact check this real quick. Dr. Squatch was acquired by Unilever.
Yep.
Unilever. I don't know what it was, a couple years ago or whatever. Have to check my facts on that. But I think the offer that they're running, because they're acquired by Unilever, it feels like they're doing these like welcome offers and discounts just to plug other Unilever brands. I think this is my hypothesis, and it's like the offer is not that compelling. I remember when I looked at the funnel like last month, it was let me pull up I want to pull up exactly what this is. Hold on.
Yeah, I think we had it on the Miro board or something.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it here. Where's this Dr. Squatch? Dr. Squatch.
Let me see. Wasn't it the cologne or something? Wait, no.
No, it was okay. So for example, this Dr. Squatch is running like a free jukebox. I still don't even know what jukebox is. Free jukebox 3-pack. Like, I need to figure out what jukebox is now. Jukebox products. Jukebox personal care. So Jukebox is, okay, I was completely wrong. So Jukebox looks like the sister company to Dr. Squatch. I actually didn't even know they had this. So this looks like if you go to Jukebox, it's basically more feminine, maybe even kids focus, kind of, I would say even like unisex, like anyone can have these products. So interesting. They had freebies that were for Jukebox, but I didn't even know what Jukebox was. So that offer is like, what is Jukebox? Like, what am I actually getting here? Like usually with an offer, you want to just get, it would make a lot more sense to say, hey, free deodorant with purchase or whatever it is, but they did this free Jukebox thing. So
yeah,
this is me. I didn't even know what Jukebox is. Now that I'm on the website, it's by Dr. Squatch. I don't know when they launched this, but they're obviously cross-promoting products.
Yeah, because obviously Dr. Squatch has Sydney Sweeney. Like, they're for sure targeting guys. So this is for sure the girls one. Probably the same shit repackaged to be girls.
Yeah. Okay, so Jukebox, the music-inspired sister brand of Dr. Squatch, officially launched in January 2023. Following its initial debut, the women's-focused personal care line expanded into reach into Walmart stores nationwide in August of 2024. So when Unilever by Dr. Squatch. Okay, so Unilever announced its acquisition of Dr. Squatch in 2025. So I thought this was a Unilever strategy to cross-promote, but they already had Jukebox kind of in their ecosystem. So Dr. Squatch already created that sister brand. And then obviously Unilever now is rolling out that cross-promotion strategy, which is good from like a cross-promotional approach. Like if you're on the offer, the whole goal is to get customers onto the other products and try them out. That's good. But obviously, from a cold customer standpoint, they actually have to know what the freebies are, what the offer is to make it a compelling offer.
Yeah. Sweet. No, I think that was an awesome episode. We were able to dive into a bunch of the brands that we've been funnel hacking. If you guys want to see any of those, actually, we'll leave the link in the description so you guys can check those out. I think we've probably done like 10 plus funnel hacks at this point. So we have these Miro boards that we've been flashing up and YouTube video breakdowns so you guys can go and watch those. Pat, do you want to close out the episode for us?
Yeah, no, if you guys are interested, like Cannon said, definitely we put out funnel hacks all the time. So we create Miro boards. You guys can check those out, rip through them, get some inspiration for your own brand. If you're a brand that's doing under $100,000 a month, we have our Forge consulting program. So that's when we work kind of one-on-one as a fractional CMO and growth advisor for early stage brands or brands under that threshold. If you're doing over $100,000 plus a month, ideally doing $3 to $5 million a year or more, we have Core. That's where our team comes in and absolutely scales you up from a P&L level approach. We're not here to just run your ads or create emails. We run the full diagnostic, full audit. And so if you're interested in getting audit of your brand, we'll leave a link down below, or DM us on Instagram or LinkedIn. And we'll see you guys in the next episode.
Peace.